is how we do it. This is how
Hey, it's Celine again. Welcome back. This is the third module, so I hope you've gotten all the science you've needed in the beginning, some cool diagrams, some cool videos to show you how those neurotransmitters work, how the receptors interacting with drugs, how your body and brain is affected, some cool terms, talked about the frontal lobe. Then we went to talking about peer pressure and 3 strategies you could use. And finally, we have some burning questions that teens have asked from all over the United States about alcohol and why it is not good to use it. And they just, some curious things that you all want to know. And so we will get into it, and not any further. We will start with, why do some people become addicted while others don't? Good question. And so it's a really hard one because we're all different humans, and so we all really don't fully understand why certain people get addicted and other certain people can do it all time and time again and abuse certain substances in their body, and nothing happens. And so we can attribute it to, it's your genes. And so your genes, and not your pants, but your actual heredity and your genes in your body play a really big part in this. And because addiction is sometimes related to your family history, and I know my family history has addiction in it, so I always have to be careful when using certain substance or food or anything could be an addiction, not just drugs, and not just illegal drugs, illicit drugs. We're talking about the food addictions and all other sorts of addictions, and so it can run in your family. We also know that a person's environment plays a big part in addiction. So what are the factors that encourage someone who has tried a drug to keep them to taking it to the point where they can't stop? Many of our researchers are still trying to untangle the answers and really try to find other ways and better ways to prevent and treat addiction. But unfortunately, some things we don't have the answer, like COVID-19. So a lot of things we don't have an answer for, and that, as you all know. So addiction is one of those things we're continuously working on and continuously creating new medications and new ways to prevent, of course. And that's what this all is about: prevention as well as treating addiction when it does happen. So we appreciate that question. Question number 2. What can cause a hangover? That was a whole movie about hangover. And so there are several reasons why people experience hangovers from drinking. And one component, not enough water, dehydration. That's one of the biggest reasons why people get hung over, okay? And so alcohol causes the body to get rid of too much fluid, okay? And dehydration results and can cause headaches, nausea, thirst, and other symptoms like constipation. And so while some people think that alcohol helps a person sleep, doesn't. It actually disrupts your sleep, and that can contribute to grogginess that accompanies those hangovers. So you just feel real bad, and trust me, you all don't want to experience a hangover. It's really, really bad experience. From what I hear, it's a really, really bad experience, and you don't want to have a hangover. But I know everybody talks about, I have a hangover, and all these treatments and methods in these movies for having a hangover. You don't want to experience one. No, legal but not lit. That's what we're on. So the next question is, what properties in drugs make them addicted? So different drugs, like we said before, act differently on the brain. And so that's where the neurotransmitters, so some drugs and alcohol have the same neurotransmitters, like the GABA that we talked about. And there's, different areas that they affect, like the brain's reward system. And they can cause those, pleasurable sensations like a high. So once a person uses a drug repeatedly, their brain starts to adjust to it. And so I think we talked about that when it came to the POP series about a tolerance. And these surges in dopamine is what it's called. And the brain cells, they make fewer receptors of dopamine, so it produces less. So you need more of that substance to get that good feeling. And that's where the addiction comes in. And so it results in lowering amount actually of dopamine signaling to the reward center. So it's like turning down the volume, and you're like, I need more, I can't hear. So when you listen to too much loud music for too long, you're like, turn it up, I can't hear. And it's like it's really loud, but your ears have been accustomed, and so it's kind of really wearing off the effects after a while. So you need more and more to keep up the same feeling. And so natural rewards like food, relationships, they're less pleasurable when my person has a sign of addiction. So one of the next questions was, how can I help someone if they're on drugs? And so one of the best things you can do if someone is using a substance like alcohol and drinking before 21, is let them know that you are there to support them. Okay, that's the number one thing you can do, and tell them you're concerned about their drug use, and this in particular being alcohol, and encourage them to seek help from a trusted adult, probably a teacher, a coach from a sports team, a parent, or a counselor. And so you can also help by being that strong positive influence like we were saying in module 2, and help them get involved in non-drug using activities. We talked about that in module 2, like joining a club, playing music, or playing a sport, or however your friend is becoming negatively influenced. However, if your friend is becoming a negative influence to your life, then you might need to step away from the relationship for a while. So just let them get it together after you let them know that you're there to support, and try to find them some assistance. So the last question that we will answer: are video games more addictive than drugs? Now, remember I said there could be multiple different types of addiction. And so, no, they aren't more addictive. They don't cause painful physical withdrawals when you stop. Technically, video games wouldn't be considered addictive, but they do act on some of those same pleasurable systems that we talked about in the brain as addictive drugs. And so they produce that same burst of dopamine when you're winning in Fortnite, and some people think that playing video games a lot may cause problems similar to drug use, like being able to get satisfaction from other things in life, and so you continuously are playing your video games. So technically no, by definition, but you guys can determine if your friend or yourself, you're like, whoa, I'm just using this game too much, I feel like I'm on a drug. But no, it's not the exact same. So I'm gonna share some last minute activities you guys can do. I know it's quarantine, so I wanted to fill this series with some activities for you. So I'm gonna give you about 4 of them. You choose which ones, if any at all. We just wanted to give you a little bit more fun than the pop series because we are quarantining. Now, we were in quarantine during the pop series, but you've been in it a while, so I know you've been running out of things to do. And so the thing you can do is Shatter the Myths video. And so you can do something that takes a group of youth, and you can all record your videos about how alcohol use has affected either your school, your community, or someone okay? The second can be a radio public service announcement. And so you can write a radio PSA about the risks teens have when they are drinking alcohol, and share it with either your school or on social media would probably be the best bet now. But I bet your school would love to put it on their pages as well to see that you guys are staying productive during quarantine, even though you're out for the summer. And I know the last one is something that would be really cool and fun to you all, as you can have a songwriting competition between you and your friends and some local organizations where you all can have a songwriting contest based off alcohol facts, and offer maybe a prize. You can guys to get together and chip in or donate to an organization with the most creative message. Maybe Legally But Not Lit could be, a tagline in it. I don't know. Thanks, guys. Those were some cool activities you guys can do. Appreciate you tuning in to the Legal But Not Lit series. I'm Celine Craig. We appreciate you listening again to some important information to keep you guys and prevent you from using alcohol before the tender age of 21, and really to limit the use even then, because we never want something to turn into addiction or overusing it and affect your body, your brain, and more so your life. And we are here to instill that in you as a youth here, and we hope these videos have been fun, interactive, and you've learned something from them more the least. So we appreciate you. Until next time, I'm Celine, Legal But Not Lit. Hey. Bye, guys.